Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. I am here with the man himself, Big Dukes. What's going on, brother?
Nah, not a lot, man. Last week of holidays and back into it next week.
What's the head like going back into pre-season?
Yeah, it's starting to get a few demons coming back, but nah. The demons are from the young boys hating it.
Yeah,
Getting
yeah.
flogged for the last sort of week and a half. So, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that, but we'll see how we go day one.
Off-season's like, because like, when you get that first week of off-season, you're like, man, I got forever. Like, and you're just laying back, your head is just like so relaxed.
Yeah.
And then as the weeks go down, you're like, oh, fuck, I've only got 14 days left.
I've literally like been looking at my calendar going, I've got 12 days, I've got 10 days, now I've got like 7, 6.
And it's a very unique because like, again, like I have to precursor this all the time. I think most reasonable fans get this. Like, we're not saying that like there isn't people that don't work away and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it was mentally draining to be in the bubble and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
It was, it's probably the hardest year that I've had mentally and not so much physically. I mean, I did everything I could with my knee, and the club were real understanding about that sort of after all that bullshit that went on in January, February about me wanting to medically retire and all that. And once I got a plan with the physio and that sort of thing, I missed 2 games because of my hemi, and I was rested in the last game. And,
So it's what, 3 games all year?
Yeah, 3 games all year, and then just little things like that. But the hardest part was not being able to see my family. So, like, if they were to come up, they weren't allowed to stay with me. I couldn't even go over to the in-laws' house to see them. Couldn't see friends. Couldn't go get a coffee from the cafe. Like, had to ring up, pre-order it, just pick it up as you swang by and things like that. And obviously, it's the same for everyone. But yeah, just like being in that bubble and like literally just going to and from training and to and from the game. And that's pretty much all you do. But the funny thing was, my missus was allowed to go out and go see her family and everything, and then just come home like nothing happened. So it was a bit weird, but it's done now, and hopefully we don't end up back in it.
So you mentioned, we'll just get it out of the way. So tell us what happened in this medical retire business. Like, what actually happened? Because obviously the media was saying that you were asking the club to medically retire.
Yeah, nah. I never once asked for medical retirement. So what happened was I went and seen a specialist, and he told me about a surgery that was pretty, over the top. Or not over the top, but like some people would get it. But it'd pretty much end my career, so to say. So he said that the way that my joint is at the moment, where the arthritis is in my knee and stuff like that, they'd fuse that with a screw, and then to get the movement in my ankle and that from my tib-fib joint, they'd have to cut the outside of the bone in half so that the bones could still move and my ankle joint could move. And he said you'd be lucky to play pro sport again. And so in my head, I'm sort of one of them people that don't dwell on stuff too much. So in my head, I said, all right, I've had a good run, nearly 190 games, played Australia, played New South Wales, done all that sort of things. And I was like, if it comes to that, I'm okay with it. And like, that was just how I sort of mentally got around it, what was happening. Like, obviously I was pretty devastated to hear the news and things like that. But for me, it was just about getting my head around it. And so that's probably where that came from. But I never once, specifically asked for it. I said, look, it might come down to it, but I'm not chasing it. And then, I think that sort of shows me not chasing it by going to see 2, 3 specialists, getting different opinions. And I went and seen the head of the knee society, everything. And he said, don't do the surgery. Like, we'll get around it, this and that. And I think I ended up having probably half a dozen to 8 injections before the season with PRPs and cortisones and Simvis, which is like a gel. So I've had a few of those this year, which has helped a bit, and got through all the games that I was in. And
so if I remember correctly, they were basically saying that you just went out on your bat looking for surgeons to medically retire. Kind of thing?
So they said, the media come out and said that I personally went and sought out my own specialist for an opinion and all that sort of stuff, and I didn't go outside of the club once. Everything that I went to was organised by the club and by our physio and our doctor. And then I think there was just a bit of miscommunication between the club doctor and the physio at the time, and they were getting, miscommunications from the surgeons and all that sort of thing. And then it was just like a big circle of like explaining what was happening and who said this and and that sort of thing.
Okay, so you seeing the specialist was actually you trying not to get medically retired.
Exactly. I seen 3 of them, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to go see 3 of them if I don't want to be.
Because you could have taken that first one and pushed for medical retirement and probably got away with it.
I think the way the medical retirement works is you need 2, but I went and seen 3. So I was trying to get every opinion that I could to, keep going and that sort of thing. Meanwhile, I'm still training every day, still rocking up the train and doing everything I have to do to try and get better. And Moose, our Pete Moose, our physio at the time, helped me massively. I probably couldn't have got through the year without him.
It's so interesting because it's what the media is so good at. Like they take this half truth. Like, so you saw the surgeon. The surgeon said you may never play again.
Yeah.
You probably back went to the club and said, look, he said to me, if I get this, I may never play again.
Yeah.
And then like they take that and say you're trying to medically retire.
That's pretty much what happened. So I didn't believe it, and I didn't have to, but I did pull across, a few of the older boys and just said, look, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Not once have I tried to do anything because I felt like I was getting a bad rap and that sort of thing, and like I was being made out to be someone I'm not. Like I've always worn my heart on my sleeve. I've played every game as hard as I can, and for me to be basically given up, that's not who I am, and that sort of thing. So I just pulled the older boys aside and just said, look, this is where I'm at. This is what's happening, and this is what I'm going to do.
It's crazy to think like you could have given up years ago when it comes to like everything that you've been through.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so this year for the Sharks, like it was you made the 8, but I'm assuming you were all kind of like we could have done better than that.
Yeah, 100%. I think even in that semi-final, I felt like we just missed our chances a little bit too. Like, we had a pretty decent team. I just think it comes down to a little bit of experience, which we're going to be better for in the future. Obviously, you've got a young squad now. I think the average age is like 24 or something.
Wow.
And so, we got young guys that are in their first and second years, and they're only going to be better for it. And, you never know you're ready until you're in there. And, our guys really showed that they could handle it this year. And I just think in big games like semi-finals and things like that, you do need a little bit of experience to sort of guide you through. And
yeah, absolutely.
Obviously losing Shawnee as well, that was
massive.
hard, and then the young guys stepping up. But just sort of it was just one of them years. I felt like we were chasing our tail all year.
It just felt like there'd be years, like there'd be games. Sorry, this is from outside looking in, so not I could be wrong, but there were games where you'd be like, okay, they've found their identity. Like this is who the new Sharks are. And then there'd be the next game, and you'd be like, "Fuck!" Like, okay, where did that go? Like, and it was like you were in the games that you didn't find your identity. It was like you're trying to look for who was the person to go to, where do we get to, kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
I think we had a run there where I think we scored 40 points for 2 or 3 weeks in a row against Titans, and then Manly, and then we come up against Panthers, red hot, like firing, full of confidence, and then just from the first kickoff, just everything went wrong that could go wrong, and 50 points on us.
Fucking hell, footy, bro, footy. I mean, I try to tell.
It's a roller coaster.
Mate, oh my god, bruh, you'd know better than literally nearly anyone. So I try to tell people. A lot of Sharks fans, they speak to me about the year and that, and I'm like, you got to understand, like, as a club, like, you've got the salary cap penalties currently. You lost your young centre and young outside back that a lot of resources are being poured into. That's a lot of people don't realise is like when a young guy comes through, the club takes its spotlight and goes and just goes like, we're trying to develop him. And when you lose that, they're scrambling, going, oh shit, all of these resources.
We lost a lot of experience before the year too. Like we lost Priz, we lost J-Moz, like that sort of thing. And obviously, like I stepped pretty much straight into where J-Moz or Bronze would have been, but so like we didn't lose too much there. But just
what I mean
guys like Priz in the middle, and then guys like Braden and that really stepped up this year. I felt like this is probably Braid's best year, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's true. I thought he was improving massively last year. But what I mean with like Bronson, I mean like because they were so focused on them, it caused issues with your centers. You lost J-Moz, and then there was issues with you, and that's because the club has gone spotlight on him, and it creates issues and then that doesn't work out. And then you're like scrambling, Could you imagine if you didn't you didn't lose J-Moz and you and J-Moz in the centers?
Well, at the start of the year, they said I could look elsewhere. So imagine if I left and J-Moz left. It could have been a lot worse. But look, everything happens for a reason, and we got through it.
It's funny. Like if you had to like sign somewhere else, they'd be like, oh, breaking contract, this, that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, actually, I was told, like, get out of here. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, the good thing is for the Sharkies, though, is like, at least you've got a foundation there. It's not like your fully rebuild situation where you're like, fuck, you've got some really good young guys,
exactly.
but also older guys.
We've got a
playing
good
well.
mix of, the older boys and then some real good young kids coming through and guys in their third year coming up now, which have got that experience now that they can start leading and things like that. And I think Braids did that this year. Got guys like Ronnie. Ronnie's really starting to find himself and come out of his shell a bit and lead by example in that. And that's what you want to see as an older guy. You know, you don't want to be rousing on everyone your whole career and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And, to see that, it's pretty good.
So yeah, it takes us back to young Dukes, born in Garran. Garran, is that how you say it? SCT?
Yeah, in Woden, the old Woden hospital that was blown up.
Oh,
back
blown
in the
up?
day, yeah. They knocked it down.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, grew up on the south side of Canberra.
Yep.
Tuggeranong boy through and through. Played for Valley Dragons and South Tuggeranong Knights, and then played for the Bushies, which is like a mix between all the Tuggeranong teams.
Yep.
So you got the Tuggeranong Buffs, the Buffaloes, the Dragons, and the Knights, and they all sort of merged for seniors.
Yep.
So I played with them. Played Howard Mats, Canberra. Played SG Ball, Canberra, and then played Flegg at 17.
Yep.
Which was 21s back then. So I played with guys like Junior Sow and Toddy and all that. And
Junior Sow was a beast, bro, back then.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Oh, my God.
And then, sort of just went through the grades there.
So what was it? So I guess from, you could tell when you saw you in under 20s, you're like, fuck, he's a gun. But was it always like that in the sense of like you were a level above the pack or?
Not really, to be honest. Like all through my juniors, I was in a pretty decent junior side, and there was always bigger kids than me, and guys that
fucking hell,
got all the accolades and that sort of thing. Well, I was only a runt. I was real skinny. I debuted at 80 kilos.
Bro, holy! You would have been the skinniest tall dude.
Yeah,
ever.
I was a little rake. I was
You're 6'3" or 6'2".
No, I'm 6'2" now, but I was probably 6'1" then. At 18, I was 82 kilos. Debuted 82 kilos.
So you grew after 18.
Yeah. I pretty much, so my first year of grade, I was 82, 84, and then I put on 6 kilos the following preseason.
Yep.
And I was around 90, and I played at 90 for a while.
Yep.
And then it wasn't until I probably, my 2013, I was probably about 94 kilos.
Yep.
And then, when I got to the Dragons and, they had a bit more emphasis on their weights and things like that, I put on a bit more and... Over the years, it's getting older. Metabolism's slowing down. I've just got to stay on top of it a bit better. But yeah.
Bro, same. Same, bro. Fucking hell. Because I remember when you watch someone on TV and you have this idea of them, like he's this kind of like skinny-ish, rangy-ish kind of like player.
Yeah.
And then you see them in real life. And it was when I first saw you, I was like, fuck, he's fucking huge. But in my head, I was like, oh, he's like probably only a little bit taller than me, maybe similar-ish build. Same thing happened with Jared Hayne. Like when I saw him debut, I was like, oh, he's like a small winger, but he's a fucking massive player. And it's weird how you have these perceptions of people before you met him, then you meet him. Who else I met the other day was fucking huge? Oh, Adam Dewey.
Oh yeah,
bro, he's tall as.
Yeah, he's tall,
mate. Tom Trbojevic.
Yeah,
thick and tall, bro. Yeah. Like fuck me dead. Anyway, so at what point did it begin to become apparent that you were making rep sides or you could progress into the professional systems?
Probably in my first year of 20s.
Really, that far up?
Yeah, but so like I always wanted to do it, and like obviously making 16s, 18s, and then 17 getting called up to the 21s. Obviously, I knew that I was a chance and that sort of thing, but I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself and. Obviously, I was a bit more chilled and, carefree back then.
Fuck, aren't we all?
But, so when my first year of 20s, coming out of Flegg, I got put straight into 20s. I didn't play SG ball again.
Wow.
And, so I was playing 20s and that sort of thing. And then...
This was the first year of 20s too, so I was like strong as fuck.
And I was like training with the first grade squad at the time too. And
walk us through that.
And
walk us through. So you obviously got the Raiders contract.
Yeah.
Stoked as anything. Were any other clubs interested?
When my first year of 20s, Roosters were chasing me pretty hard. It was all through the media and that sort of thing.
Really?
So it could have been a lot different, but...
you get the contract and they say, when you sign the contract, did they say you will be training with first grade, or they just called you in?
Yeah, so I was getting $300 a week to train full time.
Not like that these days.
Nah.
No way.
I think I was on 10 grand for the year.
Yep.
And $300 a week training.
Mate, different times, Different times. Mine was.
That's what I say. I said to these young boys now, you don't know how good you got it. Like,
but you know what's funny? I always say it's like the people before us. We're like, bro, you don't know how
exactly.
good you got it.
They were like, to us, you don't know how good you got it.
Yeah,
so
100%.
it's just the way the times go. Obviously the broadcast deal and that sort of thing, which the RLPA and that have done an unreal job getting us the cash that we want. And
I think it's a lot of the older players, like, we joke like, you just don't know how good we've got it. But I think I know I'm be assuming you're the same. We're actually happy the young boys have that security.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And we're sitting there going, mate, I'm so glad that you have the safety and what you deserve, really.
Yeah, and I think I said this a couple of years ago. I said I think the best thing that they've done too is they took the 20s off primetime TV.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it puts so much pressure on them, and and then 100%. When they might not make it, that sort of thing, they feel like they've failed.
Yep.
When they haven't, like they've played real good footy at a high level and that sort of thing, and like not everyone's meant to play professionally.
Absolutely.
And I think like a couple of pretty bad instances where kids took it a lot further than they should have. But you can't go back on that now. But I think like just taking that pressure off them and letting them live and play footy and enjoy it, because they're only young. Like you don't want to be getting flogged around by the media and that sort of thing when you're 17, 100%. 18. So,
and I think a lot of people, especially guys like us that debuted when we were teenagers, like we don't appreciate, like that's extremely rare.
Yeah.
Like to debut as a teenager is like, it's just really, really rare. And yet we see it relatively often that they think that, oh shit, I haven't made it yet, therefore I'm bloody sick failure or whatever.
Yeah. I think when I debuted too, I was 18 and like I was sort of just learning about being professional too.
Yeah, 100%.
So like that, I had a few hiccups and that sort of thing at Canberra, but I think they were just growing pains for me. Like I was so young, I'd gone into this semi-professional environment at 17 and then into, like I could have still been at school, but, I left school to work and train and that sort of thing because I knew footy was what I wanted to do. And then, it was sort of like the growing pains that, led to me getting sacked. And obviously, I learned from that and, got to where I am now.
It's like, it's honestly like any 18-year-old. Like
exactly,
nearly majority of 18-year-old blokes do silly things.
Yeah.
Not excusing it. And it's not like, I think a lot of people, when they hear footy players talk about their trials and tribulations, they think that we may be trying to discount that there are harder things out there.
Yeah.
But we're actually not. We're just saying, like, this is what it was like for me.
It's our story, it's what we've done and how we've grown from it. It's not taken away from anything else or what anyone else does.
Yeah. And I think a lot of footy players will go, like, I get it, man. There's way tougher shit out there, like 100%. Just back to the 20s thing as well, I think, like, not only is it bad for the pressure, but I also think it hurt development in a lot of kids thinking they were better than they were.
Yeah.
Like they would get into 20s, kill it.
Yeah.
And then they'd come and train with first grade and they'd just get a head ripped off.
Yeah.
And just be like...
See, when I made my debut, I played the first few weeks of 20s and then I debuted round 4. I played a few games and then went back. But I said to the coach and that sort of thing at the time, I said, I don't want to go back to 20s. Send me to... Resis. Like 100%. At the time, South Logan was our feeder club, the Maggies. So we flew up there every week.
Mate.
I was playing with like guys like David Milne and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they
flying up there and well, Milne was the one that was keeping me out of my spot. So
Anthony Milford.
Nah, Dane.
Oh, okay.
Dave Milne.
I thought you said okay.
Yeah. So like he I just said to him, I said like I'd rather play against men if I'm going to be playing first grade. I want to be playing against men and getting that sort of conditioning.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same at our club. Like what the Broncos did is like they put don't get me wrong, we had a really strong first under 20 side, but they're like guys that were like borderline NRL. They'd take them out and put them in Q Cup.
Well, we versed a lot of them.
Yeah, that final sort of. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't in it.
I think there's like 12 or 14 of that grand final that have gone on to play first grade.
We're talking like Alex Glenn, Ben Hunt, Andrew McCulloch, Gerald, Josh Hoffman,
Travis Waddell, me, Croaks, Vito.
Mate, it was that was
Thompson.
Gun.
Yeah,
that was a gun.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sign the contract. You get called into first grade. Is there a session or a moment that you remember in that first preseason where you were just like wow, this is hectic?
No, not really. I think just then I was just like, this is what I've wanted since I was 10 years old, and I used to just like reflect on it driving to training.
Oh wow! This
So
is
it was just like,
happening.
I'm pro footy player now. Like this is
It's
what
true.
I wanted. Yeah,
It feels weird to even say it, but that's what you are.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it's just that's what it do to me. So
Yeah, it's even sometimes when I say like something like, "What did you used to do?" and you go, "Oh, I used to be a professional athlete." It's like, what? It doesn't feel real, eh?
Yeah.
Because you usually just say, "Oh, I was a footy player." Yeah. Okay. So was there anyone that you were particularly like? Because I'm assuming you grew up watching the Raiders, or not?
Well, I was a Dragon supporter.
Dragon supporter.
So,
okay.
my mum and dad brainwashed me, so I was always a Dragon supporter.
Wow.
The funniest thing is, I said to him when I was like 13, I think I said I want to debut for Raiders at 18, and then
No way.
go play for the Dragons.
No fucking way.
And
That's
it
crazy.
ended up happening. So
I'm trying to think who else had a similar story in the sense that like their team wasn't the Raiders, but they wanted to I think it was Kotrick.
yeah,
He said like his team wasn't the Raiders, but he wanted to debut for them because like that
it's
was
like the hometown.
It's a hometown team or something like that. But anyway, that's crazy, and it ended up happening the way it did. Okay, so you in that first year, or was it the second year in training with first grade that you made your debut?
No, so first year of 20s, I was sort of like on the fringe. I was in and out, and then I probably could have debuted in 08, but obviously going through 20s and that sort of thing, I was still playing up a little bit.
Okay.
We'd have to wake up. So for me, living on the south side, driving to Belconnen or Bruce, where training was, we'd have to do weights in the morning, go work, and then come back for the Arvo sesh.
Yep.
And so some days I just be like, at 4:30 in the morning, I'm just sitting there. I've got a huge day of work. I don't want to go in and do weights. So like I missed a couple of sessions of weights and things like that. And ultimately, they ended up biting me in the ass because, I missed out on playing first grade because of that. Neil Henry was a coach in 08, and he pretty much told me, like, you're not up to scratch professionally yet. And that's fair enough, like I took it for granted probably a little bit just because, I relied a lot on natural talent back when I was younger and that sort of thing, and just cruising through everything, being rat's ass, and, as you do when you're 18, 19. And, it wasn't until 19 when I debuted that, I was like, shit, I got a chance at this. And I played 16 games, got joint player of the year with Joshy Miller.
In your first
year of first grade.
Holy shit.
Got rookie of the year. And then...
So that first year, can you remember your debut, how it happened, how you got called up?
I can't remember like the actual... I remember being named and that sort of thing, just having a convo with Fernsey. I think Milne got injured, to be honest. And then it was against Cowboys and JT.
No way.
Yeah, and then...
were you just like, fuck, it's fucking...
Yeah, I was like, far out. This is going to be tough. And, and then, I just remember just getting the ball and first kick and just tearing it back. And then the rest was history. And then the next week, I think we played the Sharks and Baz was there at the time.
Yep.
And then the next week, we played Broncos and Lockie was there. So first 3 weeks were just
how good's
some
that?
of the best,
Fucking hell. Who was the one that most struck you as like, whoa, that's such and such?
Probably playing against Melbourne. And Billy, because like when I was coming through, like I watched a lot of Billy and and Lockie too. Like I watched a lot of Lockie as a kid coming through when he was playing fullback, and then Billy obviously, and Billy's probably one of the best fullbacks the game's ever had. And that I was watching that, and then obviously just coming up against guys like Hainsey and that. I always loved just playing the best players just because like it was a challenge and that sort of thing, and I always wanted to go out there and show that I can hang with them. So it was sort of just like my own little personal battle with them.
Okay, so do you remember anything from the first game, your debut game, anything that stuck out to you?
Nah, not really, to be honest. It's a bit of a blur now, going on, 12 years, 13 years. So
it's crazy. Like I can't remember barely any of my games. Like I remember one moment in my debut, but it was a big moment. So obviously you're going to remember it. But other than that, like I'll probably 2 moments, like before running out and then like in the game. But you don't really remember much of the games, eh? Sometimes I watch games back. I was like, holy fuck,
they all just mesh together over time.
100%.
And then obviously you've got your rep games and that sort of thing that mesh in as well.
I don't have that, bro. I don't have that, bro. So I don't know what you're talking about. What a dog, bro. Put me on show, bro. Fucking hell.
Sorry, bro.
Okay, so that first year happens, and you basically you have an incredible year. You have an incredible year. You averaged 191 meters a game in your first season. Your overall kick return meters were only just behind Hayne and Slater. What did you what did you feel at the end of the year? Were you kind of like getting caught up in the moment, do you think? Or do you think that you were like still taken aback that it was happening?
I think probably a little bit of both, to be honest. I carried on a bit after the Prezzo winning the medal and that sort of Malmaninga medal and that sort of thing.
Was that the infamous carry on?
No. Okay. That was in 2013. But
okay.
So like 09, first year grade, player of the year with Joshy Miller and
it's crazy.
Yeah, I was sort of just taken back by it and still thinking, is this real and that sort of thing and then I knew it was real when I got the preseason the next year.
Oh, really? Fuck it. You know what? It's I guarantee you. Well, I mean, I could be totally wrong, but at the Broncos, they would have again. I don't know what they would have done. I'm just assuming, but they would have intentionally not given you the Player of the Year because they would have wanted to keep you alive.
Yeah.
A lot of clubs do really weird shit like that. You'd never even you'd know as well. Like a lot of sneaky stuff where, for example, my debut had this incredible debut. And didn't get any points for the 3-2-1.
Yeah.
And it was probably my best game I've ever fucking played. And so they always do weird shit like that.
Yeah, see, I think I don't know, just for me personally, I think things like the Player's Choice, the RLPA award and that sort of Player's Champion.
Yep.
I think to get that, I think is. To me, I'd appreciate that more than the Dally M because it's voted by your peers. It's voted by guys you go out against every week and do battle with and that sort of thing. And they're giving you a rap for it. Whereas I think with the Dally M, it's a bit of Secret Santa and you've got the media voting and ex-players and that. And they, not to say it happens, but they may have a bit of favoritism here and there and that sort of thing. So it sort of loses that value.
And
I feel.
Do they watch every single game to compare and that? Yeah. No,
and then they might watch it live or might watch the replay and that sort of thing. So
and then the commentators and the Fox can be focusing in on one player, and that may bias their decision. I mean it's you're totally right. I think most players even though the Dally M is a huge, it's still hectic.
It's still a huge accolade. I'm not taking anything away from it. I just feel for me personally, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, the player's player is always the one you want to get. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so the next season you said that you were reminded. So what happened in the first preseason the next year?
Yeah, we were doing 6Ks before we'd even touch a footy.
Oh, fuck.
1.2 time trials around the oval and that sort of thing. And then, 3-hour field sessions.
Really?
The old shins felt real good.
Oh, my God. So that was when it really kicked in. Holy shit.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
And then,
So how'd you go 2010 then?
I think I was sort of in and out a little bit. Second year sort of got me a bit with injuries, I think.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember if it was 2010 or 2011. We went on a mad run and made the finals and lost to Tigers at Canberra.
Okay.
Yeah. So we beat Penrith in Penrith. They were top 4.
Yep.
And then we got a home semi against the Tigers to make the GF qualifier.
Yep.
And we ended up losing by 2 points.
Fucking hell. It's so close. Could you a few decisions here or there?
Yeah, exactly.
Change your whole fucking life.
Yeah.
But 2011, you played fullback game 1, State of Origin. How did that call come about to you?
So 2010, I was caught into the squad because Hainsey had that headbutt at the time or whatever it was.
What was it?
He headbutted someone in the game.
Oh, okay.
And so he may have been suspended. So got the call out from bellyache and that sort of thing. And I was in the
21 squad.
In the 21 or just while Hainsey was under that sort of cloud.
Yep.
And then
what was it like walking into that blue squad for the first time?
It was nuts.
Crazy.
I think 2010 I was in the emerging blues as well. So, I met a few of the old boys, through that and that sort of thing. But, I was still 20 years old, still baby face, just going, shit, you know,
Yeah.
that I'm here.
Yeah.
And then I got in, and Hainsey ended up getting off, so I ended up like leaving camp and that sort of thing. And then 2011, I got the call up, and Ricky was the coach, and then I played pretty good. I felt first game, and then
What was the debut like? You know, what was the feelings
it
like?
was up at Suncorp.
Oh, fuck
So
me.
at the Cauldron, and
Yeah.
then it was nuts walking out.
Is
You know,
it, like-
60,000.
Do you remember walking out of that, though?
Yeah,
Surely.
yeah, I do. Walking
Yeah.
out through the tunnel and just everyone screaming at you, giving you the bird,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing, just yelling abuse.
Were you loving it?
I was loving it because,
Yeah.
like, I'm like, this is Origin, you know, like
Yeah.
you watch it on TV and you see it, but like you haven't felt it, and then to feel it and feel the emotion and the energy in the game, it was unreal.
What if you could describe, like, on the field, what is Origin like? Like, what is it like?
It's hard. I think there's a lot more energy in the game. Like it feels like so intense. Like everyone's sort of like on edge, so to say. Like you don't want to make a mistake, but at the same time, it can be a little bit easier than club because you've got the best of the best playing and that sort of thing. And you know, like it's a tough game. Like it feels like you've played 2 games back to back after it, and that sort of thing. And then you got to back up and that sort of thing.
The club backup is hectic. I don't know how the boys do that shit.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years ago, I played Wednesday night, and then we played Friday.
Torture.
So I was just like, just straight into it again.
See, I reckon coaches, they should just go, look, you're out. You're not playing. I mean, it depends where you are.
Yeah, it's the best players. You can't really leave them out.
I know. But like, in a perfect world, like if you're at top of the table or going well, I reckon
and you can rest them. Yeah,
because like 2 days after an Origin game, bro, that's just like so hectic.
I used to hate, like, I think the Friday was easier than say a Saturday and things like that, because usually 2 days after a game, I'm cooked, like sore, can't walk.
Yeah.
Because the next day you do your recovery, you're up and moving and that sort of thing. But then, like, for the rest of the day, you sit down, you're not doing much because you're ratchet from the game.
Yeah.
So, like 2 days after a game, I'm always the sorest. So, like Friday was all right. Saturdays and Sundays, they were the hardest.
Oh, so like so Friday you're still kind of
you're still like riding it, like not feeling it yet. And then, Saturday. You're like, shit, I got to play.
That's true, eh? Like, because you kind of like your body like relaxes and stuff, and like then it hits you. Okay, so the debut happens, and like, do you remember pulling the jersey on? Is there any special moment with your family where you're like, I got the call in? Or
just like obviously looking at the jersey, looking at my Origin number, name on the back. Like that was one of the things I always wanted. I always wanted my name on the back of a jersey and that sort of thing. And Origin was where it happened. So that was it.
That's crazy, bro. Fucking hell.
The day Game 2 got picked, we played Cowboys in Canberra. And we were playing pretty well, and obviously I got picked. But then I remember Tarek Sims coming out of the line on a kick return and just like grabbing me and sort of like flinging me. But I got my leg caught under me. I did like a grade 2 Cindus. So I ended up missing the rest of the series because of it.
Oh my god!
I probably could have played Game 3, but like would have been pushing it.
Yeah.
Like obviously I wouldn't have been able to train for maybe the
still
first
young.
couple of days. Yeah. And so like I was pushing as hard as I could because I knew I wanted to get back there, and then sort of missed out.
So 2012 rolls around. You played in the All Stars. That would have been cool. Like,
I think I played 11 and 12 All Stars, and then it's just good fun being with like guys like Benji and Skidsy, J Dub, like all Feezy was in there too. So like just a lot of guys. Smithy was obviously there. Letty Mateo. Like there's just a lot of guys that were at the top of their game for their club and that sort of thing, and being picked by the fans and that sort of thing. It was pretty special. That was good fun.
So the next year, 2013, you get contracted, terminated.
Yeah.
And so, like, what was that for in the end? Like, was it just for a bunch of things?
I think there was like a list that they had from when I was like 18 all the way up until then. Yeah, pretty much. Like missed physios and just little shit like that they just used against me, which obviously they're entitled to. But the worst thing was, so my manager was in contact with him after everything happened. Obviously, I got a letter the next day after it all happened saying, intent to front the board. They have intent to terminate your contract, blah, blah. So I rang my manager. My manager rang the CEO, the club, all that sort of thing, tried to sort it out. And then they said, oh, look, we're just going to terminate him. You don't have to turn up to the board meeting. And so I didn't turn up to the board meeting, but then the Canberra Times grabbed that and said that I didn't front to my own termination meeting. So then I'm made to look like a dickhead again.
That like you fully disrespected, didn't give a fuck.
And I think that's where a lot of Canberra fans felt disrespected and that sort of thing. And so I copped a lot of shit from Canberra fans, but like it wasn't about disrespecting them. And even the photo, like that was never intended like or pointed at anyone. It was just me being young. Cruises, the rooftop photo, like breezes, finger up and that cruises. It's
cruises.
Everyone says breezes, but it was cruises. So like I always say to them, someone will bag me and say breezer and this and that. I said, if you're gonna bag me, at least get it right. Like.
And also, like,
and then
everyone's drunk at cruiser.
They'll say, like, you want a cruiser? I said, I only drink them on the roof. Sorry, bro. Like, just shit like that. So
was that just, like, two young blokes just...
Yeah, that's all it was. And, like, it was never, like, any pointed at anyone, nothing. Like, no disrespect towards anyone.
Yep.
And then, so then I didn't turn up to the board meeting because I was told I didn't have to. Obviously, I was getting sacked regardless.
Yep.
So
I think you're totally right. Like, even as a player... To hear that, it sounds like even I would be like, bro, like turn up to the fucking meeting at least.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you got told.
Yeah, I got told that they were sacking me, so I didn't have to turn up.
Changes everything.
Yeah.
Because like by not if like on the outside looking in, by you not turning up, it looks like truly you
that
didn't
I just
give
don't
a
care.
fuck.
I don't give a fuck. And then like obviously like that wasn't the case. Like I was like shit, like I want to keep playing this and that.
Because you were trying to stay.
Yeah.
Because you obviously did care.
Yeah. And then they just rang and said, look, we're going to terminate him, so there's no point turning up.
Yeah.
So I didn't turn up, and then it was in the paper. I didn't turn up, and
you're totally right. Like obviously, the rest of it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But that is like a nail in the coffin. For negative.
Yeah, exactly.
Headline. Yeah. Because it's kind of it's like the last straw of caring. Yeah. Okay, but then in April it was said you were set to sign a 3-year deal with the Bronx, brah. What happened there?
Yeah, a bit of a muck up again by me. I didn't have a club. I was talking to the Bronx, was like sort of trying to get the ins and outs of a deal done. And then, like I said, I was just copping a lot of shit from Canberra fans and all that sort of thing. And I think I finally just snapped. Like, I bit back at a fan, said some things I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah. You're getting hounded all day.
And
like
all day on
disrespected.
Instagram. And like that was when Instagram first started, like pretty much too. So... like it was just starting, and then everyone sort of had an opinion about what I'd done or what had happened and that sort of thing. And I just sort of, like I said, I just hit the breaking point and snapped back at someone. And then Broncos, obviously, it ended up in the media, and then Broncos just said, nah,
we can't
like,
do
obviously
that.
You've been sacked, and now you're in the dramas again. So like they brushed it.
Yeah.
And then like, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks went past. I was working with my mate as a painter on the tools and that sort of thing, and trying to do a little bit of training here and there just because I was like, I don't know what will happen. And then Dragons ended up throwing me a lifeline, and I spoke with Pricey and Craig Young, and they came to Canberra. I had a coffee with them and that sort of thing, and then like 3 weeks later, I was driving up to Sydney without all my stuff, just left all my stuff in Canberra at my house, and literally just took a bag and went up there.
Fucking hell, that's like, it's crazy how it all works out. You end up at the Dragons where you wanted to end up anyway. So like that time off, was there ever a point where you're thinking, fuck, I might not play footy again?
Yeah. So like probably the first few weeks, and like I've said it before, the first few weeks I sort of just went mad. I was like, fuck, I don't have any commitments now. Like I don't have to do anything. Like I'm sweet. Like, so I was partying Thursday to Sunday every week. Yeah. Blew all my savings, everything, just not giving a fuck anymore. I was just like over it. And then, obviously partying, going mad, prescription medicines, that sort of thing. And, I'd sleep for 16 hours a day sometimes, just, so you just after a party, I was just in a downward spiral, like just self-destructing and that sort of thing. And then, like my old man, I pretty much shut off from everyone too. I was just hanging out with people that were doing the same thing as me and like pretty much enabling what I was doing, like not getting up me. And then it wasn't until, I was on the come down from a weekend of partying and that sort of thing. And my best man at my wedding, that sort of thing. Known him since I was 10, rocked up at my house and said, your old man rang me trying to get a hold of you and that sort of thing, like pull your head in.
Yeah.
And that sort of like flicked me into gear and I was like, fuck yeah, you're right. And then sort of just got back on the horse and started working, started doing a bit of training and that sort of thing. And then like I said, 3 or 4 weeks later, I heard from the Dragons and then they said they wanted to sign me and then on like a 6-month deal for the rest of the year. Got there and by the end of the year, I had a 4-year deal with them. So
fuck, it's crazy. Like shows you like your mate, if he doesn't come round to pull your head in.
I would have just kept going the way I was going and could have ended up anyway.
Shows you how important it is if you've got any mates where they're acting just even a little bit weird.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Fucking see how they are.
Yeah, but also like you need a mate that's going to pull you up if you're acting like a fuckwit.
Yeah. Yep.
And so like, like you might be partying or carrying on and that sort of thing, and it's okay here and there, but if you're going overboard with it and then someone pulls you up on it and you like don't like that and you like basically cut them off, then you've just lost a real good friend there trying to look out for you. So
absolutely, especially when it comes to that, like there's not very many mates that are going to be like, mate, you're partying too much. He's not coming from a bad place. It's crazy, bro, and like it's just sometimes you got to learn those lessons yourself,
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy, like how close we could have lost such a talented player to the game. And how much more you achieved after that. Okay, so you get the contract with the Dragons. Did they say to you like, look, we need to see that you've good again? When
I got to the Dragons, I had to do like study. So it was in my contract that I had to study. I had to like do like a sesh with a counsellor like once every couple of months and that sort of thing, just to check in and all that sort of thing. The NRL made me jump through a few hoops as well, so I had to see a life coach, I had to see a psych, had to go to the Black Dog Institute, all that sort of thing. And
probably the best thing you
did. I know, 100%. Like, it was a good thing for me because it sort of lit a fire in me to want to play footy again. Yep. Whereas like when I was partying and doing all that other shit, I was just like, if
whatever.
I play, like just carefree again, being young, and all my mates were partying, so I was like, this is better. Yep. And then so like I did all that. I seen a life coach, did the personality test, figured out the jobs that I would want to do if I wasn't to play footy, and then there was a few that I could do still while I was playing footy. So that's how I got into obviously the counselling and the youth and social work and all that sort of stuff. So I've done my Cert 3 and 4 in youth and social, and done my mental health first aid now, and then I'm halfway through doing my counselling diploma.
Wow, that's fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like, and you're the perfect guy for it because you know the signs, because you've done it, like any kid that says like, oh, he doesn't get me, you can be like, bro, I get it.
Yeah. And so like last year, me and Bob, Andrew Fafita, we did a lot of work with Cobham. So we're going out there once a week, once every 2 weeks, and spending a couple of hours with the boys out there in the JJ, and just obviously trying to just lend a shoulder to them or an ear. It's a juvenile justice centre for like incarcerated kids and stuff like that, young boys. And like a lot of them are just stuck in that routine where that's all they know. They've been running the streets or whatever, and that sort of thing. And just trying to, like, obviously Andrew's got his story. He's been in a bit of trouble back in the day, and obviously being me and a young ratbag too, like I got in a lot of trouble too that could have gone either way. So like I could have been one of them kids too. Like some of the things that I did looking back, I was just like I got lucky. I got away with that. But so like obviously just having guys like me and Andrew being able to have a yarn with them and that sort of thing, and obviously we know a bit of the extent that they're going through and what they're doing. So just being able to help them kids, and eventually I want to maybe go back and work as a youth worker or social worker at a JJ, or end up in a school or something.
Man, it's incredible. You're doing more than me, that's for sure. I'm just editing shit and making memes.
Selling beer.
Selling beer. Okay, so you get to the Dragons, and you seem to have like a new lease. It seems like before that you were a boy, and it seems like at the Dragons you kind of became a man, and it seemed like it anyway. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
And you get selected to play, game 2 and 3 for the State of Origin series, and extended a 4-year contract with the Dragons. That year for you getting called back into, I'm assuming the contract would have been great, but getting called back into Origin, only a year ago or a year and a half ago, it was like, less than a year ago, it was like, you might not even play footy again.
Yeah, well, it would have been like 3 or 4 months.
Fucking hell.
Because I got sacked in March, and then I signed back with the Dragons in May. So, it was like 2 or 3 months, and then I was back in Origin, that sort of thing. It's sort of just like, it was like a fast forward sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
I never imagined playing Origin like that year. Obviously, because I knew there was a lot of opinions about me and that sort of thing. And, the talent was there, but it was where my head was at and that sort of thing. And I think, doing everything the NRL asked and everything that the Dragons asked, got me there in the end. And then obviously got the 4-year deal and,
what a turnaround, bro.
Yeah.
What a fucking turnaround. Okay, so the game 2, what was that feeling like running out again? Did you feel a sense of like, thank fuck I'm back here?
Yeah. Yeah. Being at the Dragons too, at that time, there was a lot of the older boys like Dean Young and Benny Cray and Benny Hornby and that sort of thing still there. And Sowie was there. And then, I played my first Origin with Sowie and Mez and that in 2011. So, yeah,
cool.
Getting back to the Dragons was good, and just having that guidance from the older boys. I think when I was younger, I didn't want to listen to it or didn't want to hear it. I was like, "Nah, I've got me. I'm good," and that sort of thing. And then, I got to the Dragons, and I really wanted to buy into it, and what they were doing and that sort of thing. And that's when I got a lot more professional about the way that I went about things, and looking after the body and doing everything I can to play consistently week in, week out.
I think a lot of people don't realise, especially when guys like me and yourself are coming through, like we weren't educated from like fucking 10 years old or even 11, 12, 13 of like stretching, like nutrition.
The odd oranges at halftime are bad for you too.
Like we weren't educated in that. We were just educated, rock up, train as hard as you can, go home, and then you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it takes like older boys in a system to teach us that.
Yeah.
Whereas like the kids now, they're getting taught that shit.
Oh yeah.
They've got the internet.
From 15.
From like 15, they know that shit. So I just think that like there is this generational gap where we were just never taught that. Like I didn't even know meat pies were bad when I was growing up. You know what I mean? Like all that shit, we didn't know that shit. Yeah. Because the internet just wasn't around as much. Whereas the internet now, as a kid, you can learn anything.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Okay, so 2014 rolls around. Had a mid-season move to the Centres, scored a hat-trick against the Sharks, and then the series, the 2014 series,
that was huge.
I think a lot of people really don't appreciate the fact that to beat that Queensland side is just something
there's
special.
There's probably 6 Hall of Famers in that team
100%.
At least.
Easy.
You got JT, you got Cronk, Smithy, Slats,
Inglis. You got Matt Scott, who was like
Hodges was there.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, Petro was there as well. As I was coming through, he was just finishing. But just like some of those players in there, you just look at it and go, oh, shit.
Imagine him in today's game.
Yeah.
Like on the series just gone.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Fucking whoa.
Yeah. It's just nuts to think about, that, we were able to achieve that. And, it was a tough time as a Blues player and probably as a supporter too. But, that was the one that I think means a lot.
So walk us to that last game. When the buzzer goes, or when was the feeling like we won this? Like we fucking did.
When I was chasing Hainsey over the dead ball line, when he ran to the Blatchies Blues and standing up on the fence. Yeah,
what's that feeling like?
Oh, it was massive. I think we're all just like that emotional and that sort of thing. Like Gal was crying, Hainsey was crying. Like they'd probably gone through it a little bit longer than me, so they knew a lot more about that emotion and that pride. But yeah, it was an amazing time. Yeah.
What was the chat like after the game with the boys and that?
Yeah, it was good. Like we were all just on the beers, that sort of thing.
100%.
Like we just won, and then I think a lot of us probably tried to get the weekend off too.
Oh, really?
We wanted to enjoy a beer after the game and that sort of thing. So
yeah, fucking oath you would be. I'd be bloody making calls if I was an Origin player. 100%.
If you want the old money, I want 48 extra hours.
Fucking oath. Okay, so that happens, and then you make the Australian Kangaroos Four Nation train-on squad, but ended up having surgery. But I guess was that the first time you were selected for that squad?
Yeah. So that was the first time I'd so I played. Sorry, I made the train-on squad when I was at Canberra. I ended up playing. I think it might have been 11. I played the Prime Minister's game.
Okay. Yep.
And no, actually, 09. I played Prime Minister's game. My first year.
No way.
Yeah, my
Fucking
first
hell.
year I played Prime Ministers, and like I'd only played 16 games that year.
Yeah.
Got the PNG, and then they're like, Canberra number one. Like they knew who I was.
Already.
And I was just like,
Fuck.
yeah.
Hell, how good.
That's why I love going over there, because like they just love footy. They live and
Yeah.
breathe it.
Yeah.
It's their national sport. Like
Yeah.
it's nuts over there.
Fucking hell, that's they already knew
Yeah.
like that you were the Canberra
But
number
yeah,
one.
so like making that train on squad in 14, I knew I was on the verge because I'd played a couple of years of Origin back to back and
Yeah.
been playing pretty good footy. So yeah, I was keen on that, and then getting into 15, making it. Then,
Yes.
that was awesome.
On the wing,
Yeah.
putting on that Australian, jersey. What was the feeling like? Just fucking.
Yeah, it was nuts. I remember sort of like holding back tears, getting my jersey presented to me and that sort of thing. And then there's a bit of a, the firecracker went off early, so to say. Like we were supposed to play Friday, but all those that flood rain come in.
Oh, really?
So the whole Suncorp was flooded, and
Yeah, I remember that,
we had
yeah.
to push it back to Sunday. So we sort of
The
let
emotion.
it off early, and then we ended up getting towed up, but
Yeah.
it still doesn't like
Change
for
it.
me. It was just like I've played for my country. Like how good's that?
So the next year you get fullback position in New South Wales, and you obviously lose a series, but you win the Brad Fittler medal. I mean, fucking hell, what a turnaround!
Yeah.
That's got to be something special.
I still remember that series. That's the one that we should have won.
Yep.
We lost the first game by a point.
Yep.
I
Who was that? Kronk's field goal or something?
Yeah, we missed one. Like the ball come to me instead of like I was standing supporting our halfback
Just in
and,
case.
and so I ended up getting the ball somehow.
Yep.
I was like 45 hour, and I've absolutely walloped it. And I just remember like leaning over, just watching it, just go like this, and then just veered off to the right and just missed.
Fuck.
I nailed it too. Probably went 60.
Yep.
But yeah,
We
I
just,
just,
like, caught the
I
wind
just
coming.
watched it, and just because I was running to the side and I hit it, so I must have just put that curl on
Yeah.
it and just watched it go across, and I was just like,
Well, could have been, bro.
and then Cronk went down the other end and just slots it
Just bomb.
like it's nothing,
Like
like
it's-
it's a little chip kick.
Bro, he's so. I
And
mean,
then
I know he's rated, but he's
yeah,
unbelievable, bro.
and then we beat Queensland in Melbourne.
Yep.
That was huge, like 95,000 people at the MCG.
Oh, yeah, that was
like that
fucking
was
massive.
unreal.
Yeah.
And then lost the decider.
Lost the decider, fucking Queensland. Those deciders.
They love the deciders,
Fucking
don't
oath,
they?
they
They've
do.
won, how many they won? 9 or something?
Oh, something crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. You just look at the last decider.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you get the player of the series. Like, I mean, I'm surely you're sitting there going, "Fuck!" Like this is just. And you were struggling with a neck injury that year too, were you?
Yeah, neck injury in 15. I ended up having surgery that end of that year.
Yep.
So I'd been playing with like a nerve in my neck was getting crushed by my vertebrae from just constant impact and stuff like that. So like I'd lose feeling in my fingertips. So my 2 fingers and my thumb, I'd lose feeling in. Constant aching from like my shoulder down to my elbow and that sort of thing. And like I'd get a burner or 2 a game at least.
Fucking hell,
So
bro.
yeah, I was carrying that for probably 18 months. And then at the end of 15, I just said, I got to get it done. Like,
Fucking oath.
we got to do something. I had a cortisone in the, like in between the vertebrae on the nerve under ultrasound. Let that go for a couple of weeks. Didn't really see much difference. And then
Yep.
I went and seen the neck surgeon, Dr. Davies. And then he was talking about like going through the front of my neck and replacing this and fusing this. And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
What's
oh,
doing?
let's just take a step
Yeah.
back and see what else we can do. And
100%.
then, ended up getting like a big cut like that in the back of my neck. And our trainer was there at the time. They reckon they just had duct tape holding the back of my neck open while they shaved through my vertebrae down.
Oh, fuck,
But
bro.
yeah, it's been pretty good ever since. So like,
Yep.
touch wood that that doesn't come back because
I don't know if
that
that's
wasn't
real wood.
fun. That
Well,
wasn't
I think
fun.
that's fake wood, bro.
Well, it's gonna have to do, isn't it? Touch the leg.
Nah, fucking oath. Hope it doesn't come back. Okay, so Yeah, I just can't get over, bro. Like, I think probably it's when you retire that you start to really appreciate some of the shit you've done. Like, obviously you're still in it, but like to come back and win the series player after winning the series before, like, I think it's very easy to just like, oh yeah, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, because you're still in it. But I think when you sit back and go, you won the player of a series for your state in a series. Yes, you didn't win the series, but you know what I mean. You won it for your state. That's pretty fucking incredible.
Yeah, I still appreciate that. Like, it's probably one of the biggest accolades I've had in my career and that sort of thing. And it's probably one of the best moments of my career too. Even though we lost the series, you know. I probably wasn't feeling like that on the night. I got the phone call on Mad Monday, so I was like full charged up, and then I was like, yeah, you got to go to the Prezzo, because I wasn't going to go because we'd just been knocked out.
Yep.
And like obviously, you know, Mad Monday can go one or two ways.
Yeah.
You're either in bed
you don't know where it's
or
going.
you're going into Tuesday morning. So I was just like, yeah, all right. So I got the phone call about 6 o'clock Monday night. I said, right, I'll pull up at midnight.
Yeah.
Pulled up at midnight and just got the missus to pick me up. And then I think I was on mute all night on Tuesday. And then, the speech, I don't know how good the speech was. It was all emotional too, like hungover.
That's fucking mad. Okay, so, 2016 rolls around. You play... you missed the first two games due to elbow injury.
Yeah.
But you played the third where you played centre, where you won, but you lost... We lost the first two. So you won the third one.
I was actually in camp with my elbow, so we played Souths. I think it was game one, and just before game one, and I got picked and that sort of thing. And then I was playing fullback at the time. I went to like ground a ball, and I got jumped on my elbow and like fully extended it. So the ball on my elbow joint went all the way to the verge before it popped out, and then stayed in. But what it did was it cracked the joint, so I had a fracture in my elbow essentially. Fuck. And then I was in camp and just went to take a hit up, and then like went to block myself, and I just got hit on the forearm, and it just jolted it, chipped a bit of bone off. And then that got stuck in the joint. And then that night I had a shower, and I looked down at my elbow, and it was the size of a balloon. And I just went to Loz. I just said, "Look, mate, I don't think I'm going to be able to play." Like,
and is that when you found out that it was all fucked up?
Yeah. So I ended up going in, having a clean out. They took the bits of bone out. I think there was a bit of bone in there like that was just floating around, and there was a few other bits and pieces in there, like obviously just from footy. But yeah, so like I ended up missing game 1 and 2 because of that. I was devastated because like, you know, wanted to be in there playing.
And you've won this player of the series the year before, exactly, so you're a very important player to the side. Okay, so, but you make the Four Nations side the next year, and you win the Four Nations final against New Zealand, 34-8 at Anfield. What was that?
That was hectic. So, like, obviously, I've watched Chelsea and that sort of thing, so... You know, I've always sort of followed the EPL for a while now, and so I knew all the stadiums. Like we played at London Stadium, West Ham's home ground, and that sort of thing, and just being able to do that, and then to play at Anfield, that's huge.
And it's like packed as well.
Fucking and then we went to Old Trafford too. Like we watched the NFL at Old Trafford.
NFL?
So there was they do London games every year.
Yeah.
They do like UK games every year, sorry.
Old Trafford's mad, eh?
Yeah, so like there was I think there was 98,000 people there, and it was just nuts.
It's just different.
So good.
There's
and
levels.
We just bought the tickets online. It was like me, Moiser, Fergo, and Jimmy Maloney, and we bought the tickets online, and they were like £100 each. So it was like fuck all.
Yeah.
And then we get there, and literally we're the only ones in this bay, and we're right behind the Bengals bench. So it was hectic, And then as they're coming off after the game, they're throwing their gloves up into the crowd and that. So we end up getting the glove and that, and like we're all half tanked. And then, we're out in the lineup for the NFL shop, and there's a kid with an NFL ball. So me and Moises put the gloves on, and we run around with this little kid throwing the NFL ball around, making catches and that. So it was a good time.
That's it's weird. Like you remember that just as much as a game sometimes because it's like those little moments.
Yeah. That's just like experiencing things. Like that's the first. Like probably the second time I've been to the UK. The first time was with the Dragons, but we're pretty much just there for like a week and then the game. So like it was good to be able to get around and see some things and that sort of stuff.
Okay, so the next year rolls around, and that was that same year, was it? I'm just trying to. No. So the next year rolls around, and you sign a 4-year deal with. You play for Australia. Yeah. And at Canberra Stadium. which would have been cool. Was that the first time playing for your
that was
country?
the first time. So I had all my family and friends there, and I think it was like 20 or 30 people that came.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's
for
mad.
my first test in Canberra and that sort of thing. So yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, so you announced that you signed a 4-year deal with the Sharks.
Yeah.
Had that was that due to what was the reason for that?
So I wanted to stay at the Dragons.
Yep.
I was trying to stay at the Dragons, but just the way that they were selling it to me and that sort of thing, and obviously I would have had to take a bit less money and that sort of thing, where I felt like, I was playing better footy than when I signed. I felt like I was worth a little bit more at the time and that sort of thing. And
you're a current Australian centre.
Exactly. So I just played 4 or 5 years straight rep footy.
Yep.
I was like, why am I going to stay and take less when I'm a better player than I was when I first signed? So
and the salary cap would have increased.
Yeah, exactly. And the club sort of said that they wanted to go in a different direction, and then I said to him, look, I've got this offer from the Sharks. Like, can you at least come close to it? I was told no, so I said, all right. I rang my manager and said, when do I sign?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So like, they could have just got close to it. They didn't need to match it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just said, can you get anywhere near it? And they just said no. So
their offer was like not even fucking...
Looking back on it, I probably would have lost over $500,000.
So it was like not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I guess it's kind of worked out because like the Sharks have probably gone a little bit better than the Dragons over the last few years. Okay, so yeah, you sign with the Sharks and you play all 3 games. That's another thing. Like they're not keen on you, but you're still a part of the New South Wales side. It's like, fuck, man. What was that? Yeah, what was that whole experience like? Oh yeah, actually, that was a week after the Origin Series loss. You were seen having a beer. What really happened there?
Where's this at?
This is 2017.
Yep.
It says that a week after the Origin Series loss, Dugan alongside Fergo were highly publicised after the pair reportedly on a boozy day out at Lennox.
Oh, that was it. That was in camp.
Yeah, okay.
So I've got a good friend that lives in Lennox Head.
Yep.
Personal trainer. And we went for lunch, had a few beers with lunch, that sort of thing. We were out of the pub by 6 o'clock at night.
Fucking hell.
So we were there for a few hours, but like it wasn't like we were tanked or nothing. Like we were interacting with the fans and talking to them and all that sort of thing, and then went back in and trained the next day. So
what you might have had 3 or 4 beers?
Yeah, like just kicking
normal,
back,
yeah.
normal arvo, bit of a punt, like that sort of thing, and then train the next day and. Loz even said we trained good, so it was just sort of like a scapegoat excuse sort of thing for me.
Yeah, fuck me dead.
And then there was another thing that came out saying we trashed a hotel room and all this sort of thing, and I'm just like, it's me and Fergo. Like if it was me and Fergo, and that actually happened, we would have got sent home that day.
100%.
So I was just like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
Okay, so and it says on their day off on a Friday, which was 5 days out. So Friday, and you were playing the next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And we trained Saturday.
And you literally had 3 to 4 beers and a feed.
Yeah.
And a punt.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What a fucking beat up. What a beat up. That is fucked.
Yeah.
What did Loz say? Was he like?
Well, it came out after the series, and Loz had sort of pulled the pin by then. So that was Loz's last series.
Okay.
And then, it sort of just came
happened.
up like a month after the series.
Fuck me, Dad. Just looking for anything to sting you.
Yeah.
Friday, it's like...
We did the same thing in game 2. But we won game 2, so
it's all good.
It wasn't... Nothing was said about it.
Yeah. Fucking hell, honestly. Okay, so... by this stage, with the media, you're just like, you know what? Fuck, whatever.
I don't even read papers anymore.
Yeah.
I don't listen to the news. None of it.
Yeah, it's just not even worth it.
Yeah.
It really isn't, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that year rolls around. So it says Dugan was axed from the team by Paul McGregor after he missed a team bus. What happened there?
Yeah, I misread my schedule.
Yep.
And I missed the bus by like 10 minutes.
Yep.
And then Mary said, "You're not here. The bus is leaving. Like, you're not on time." I said, "Yeah, fair enough." I drove out to Penrith. I beat the bus to Penrith.
Yep.
And then I sort of just had a combo with like Mary and that sort of thing. He said, look, I'm not playing you. And obviously we needed to win that to get even close to the finals, that sort of thing. And then, I was shattered. I was in the sheds crying.
Yep.
I was devastated. Like I was pissed off at myself for,
being late and
having a slip up like that, really is nothing. Like from some of the shit that I've been through.
Yep.
To misread a schedule and just like get it in my head that I've got to be here at this time, but it's this time.
Yeah.
I was shattered.
It's one of those things where like they're those. I feel like they're those scenarios where and I'm not saying McGregor isn't a good coach, but like the really good coaches know that like, okay, yes, he was late.
Yeah.
Is he usually late? Like I'm assuming never.
No.
We need to give some way here, because like what lesson are you trying to teach the team with that? It's not like everyone's sitting there going, fuck Dukes, like can't believe he was late.
I apologized to the boys straight away. I said like, that's not me. That's, that sort of thing. I was shattered and they could see that too.
Yeah.
And, so I ended up watching the game in the sheds just because I didn't want to be out on the field and just everyone's eyes on me. So I was just like, I was off it. But, I got a lot of time for Mary. I got a lot of respect for Mary.
No,
I've always had a lot of time for him. He's helped me massively over the years. Transition from fullback to centre and all that sort of stuff. And, obviously he gave me the chance to play centre to be able to play Origin. So, I still talk to him every now and then.
Mary was good. Yeah. I was at he was my reserve grade coach.
Yeah.
Fantastic bloke. Fantastic bloke. Like honestly, like probably out of all the coaches, he's probably the one I could. I'm thinking now, probably have a beer with the most. Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like obviously I've had Wayne in that, but like he's not fucking beer.
But yeah, like at you from the back of the bus.
Yeah, fucking know.
That was another story. My first year of All Stars, I used to just go straight up the back.
Yeah.
And I was sitting up the back and all the boys were looking at me, just laughing at me. I'm like, what? And then Wayne comes up and goes, get out of my seat.
Mate, that's a big dog seat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit. Sorry.
Yeah. So I was like straight out of there. Yeah. Please don't attack me.
Okay. Next year rolls around, apparently, allegedly thrown out of an RSL for poor behaviour.
Oh.
Well, according to RSL president and other page, Dugan was allegedly swearing, disturbing RSL members.
Yeah.
What did that happen?
That's another beat up, but nah. So I was in the pokey room, had a few beers. I was with one of the boys, and we just missed a feature or something. I must have swore at it or whatever.
Yeah.
And, as you do, like
just having beer with the boys.
We're Aussies having a punt, like for me anyway. And then I was asked to leave and I left. Like it wasn't like there was a big uproar. I wasn't dragged out. Nothing. Like I was asked to leave for swearing, and I said, "All right, no worries." I walked out on my own accord. Everything.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Fucking hell, bro. It's just like once that bad like happens, where you get that target on your back. Yeah. It just perpetuates itself.
I said it on Chatty's podcast the other day. I said I think there's a persona of me and who I am and what I'm about, but anytime I've met anyone, they know how respectful I am, how down to earth I am, and that sort of thing. And whatever's been said about me, it's sort of part and parcel with who I am. It's nothing like that. So yeah.
So the 2018 rolls around and I think it's a seems like one of those years where you finally like kind of drew a line in the sand where you're like, you know what, I'm going to take care of fucking my mental health, and not going to let people continue to fucking blah blah blah. Yeah, is that because obviously with the press conference where you're like, you know what, fuck this shit, and just express yourself?
Yeah.
Did that feel like that for that?
I think it was just like a water bottle overflowing sort of thing for me. Like I'd built it up for so long over the year. Like 18, I struggled. I think all the years of rep footy and no pre-seasons and that sort of thing. So like 16, 17, I wouldn't have had a pre-season. Like come back in January because of the Four Nations and the World Cup. And then 18, I just I had a fracture in my leg and I was trying to play with it and that sort of thing. Didn't find it for a few weeks and just was playing in pain. And then, finally got to the point where I said, fuck this. We need to sort this out. Like, what is it? And then found out and then, was doing that, was coming back from that, was training with the boys, re-injured it, and then it was just like one of them years that, I was chasing my tail all year with the injury and that sort of thing, and, I was in and out. Like, I'd play 2 games, do like a little niggle, miss a game, and then like that sort of shit was happening all year, and that was draining. And then the podcast thing with the
so the podcast thing happens.
with the half-cast boys, and then I sort of just said something about Buzz, and Bop said something too, and one thing led to another. We're in the paper for the next 2 weeks about what we said and all this sort of thing, and it sort of just, I didn't say anything about it, like just put myself on a media ban. I was like, I don't need this shit right now. I just sort of went about what I was doing. I was trying to get back, and then we were coming into the finals, so I had to do media, and the first question off the bat was just the podcast or the injury and that sort of thing. And I was just like, you know what, like I've had enough. And then it sort of just all come out. Just word vomit. Just said what was on my mind at the time, and like it sort of come out. And I think that was sort of like a blessing in disguise. Like I let it all out, and I got a lot of support from it too. Like a lot of people outside of my circle realized what had happened and what was going on, and they backed me and that sort of thing. And the rest of the year sort of went on. We played finals. We lost against the Roosters first game. I subluxed my shoulder. Didn't play the next week because of obviously my shoulder.
Yeah.
And then we lost to Melbourne, and then had a shoulder reco.
Yeah.
And then as I was having a shoulder reco, like I was out of I just had surgery, and then Shane Smith, our welfare guy at the time at Sharks, sort of just gave me a call and asked me how I was going and that sort of thing. And I said, I'm all right, but,
not the best.
Not the best, obviously. And then he said, what do you think about going to a rehab facility? And at the time, I was sort of like, like I was sort of umming and ahhing about it. But
rehab specifically for what? Just mental health? Or
I was sort of abusing prescription meds at the time too, like painkillers and that sort of thing.
And when you say, and then just for people listening, it's like, it's not like you were just sitting there one day and you chose to. It's like we take these so much as footy players that it's really hard. Sometimes as soon as you snowball, it just boom, out of your control.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. Like with my leg all year, I had them easily accessed and that sort of thing. And then it was sort of just like a vitamin for me. At that time, I was sort of just numb to it. I'd take 4 or 5 a day, 6 a day, and just not even feel anything. And I was so numb to everything that was going on as well. I'd shut myself off. I was shutting my missus out. I was doing, everything. And, she says sometimes she had to like shake me to wake me up.
Really?
Shit like that. Like, so it's like pretty scary to think about. But, without her there, I probably could have ended up again, in some trouble.
Yep.
But, I said to Shayna, I said, look, all right, we'll have a yarn about it. We'll go from there. And literally 2 days later, I was on a plane to Thailand.
Oh, right. What was the rehab center like?
It was awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a place called Lana rehab facility in where is it? It's in Thailand somewhere.
And what does it kind of entail? Like, was your prescription of like choice or whatever, like endones or
tramadol? So pretty much anything I could get my hands on.
Yeah, but was it more painkiller than Valium?
Yeah. So it was a bit of a mix of both.
Yeah.
I was just trying to feel something, I suppose. But
just painkillers are notoriously all the troubles you have, they just go away.
Yeah, exactly.
They get worse after it. But
yeah. So like I got there and I still had to have some sort of painkiller for my shoulder because I was only a week out of surgery.
Fuck.
So I was in the sling, big like pillow and that there. Yeah. So the flight over was torture, like 8-hour flight with this sling. And it was just like, worst time ever. And then, got there. And then they took all the meds, like even Panadol, like they took everything.
Yep.
And then, like, obviously it's a proper rehab facility. Like there's guys that are in there for like meth and like all the rest of it, like everything, alcohol, everything. And then, so they take it and you've got to like, there's a certain time every day that you go, like they've obviously got the directions for it and then they give it out as directions. So I was weaned off them a bit and that sort of thing. I tried not to go on heavy stuff the whole time I was there, so I only took it if I really needed it.
Yeah.
And even then they only give you one.
Yeah.
And then Yeah, so a day there would be like you wake up like 7:30, you go have your brekkie, and then like 8:30 you've got a check-in meeting. So it's like a meeting about how your night was,
Yep.
and then you go from there, and you got your group meeting pretty much straight after at like 9:30, 10. You got your group meeting, which was like they did different things every day. It was just like handling your anxiety, handling like certain situations and that sort of thing. So it was just like a class, really.
Yeah.
So we'd do that, and then like you'd have your own sort of time. You'd have lunch, and then you'd have some more sessions in the Arvo where it was like either a class, like an art class, or PT or physio or massage. So yeah, we're getting massages every day, physio and
so
personal
your
training.
own time. Could you leave or not?
No, so it was like a full
Enclosed.
It was enclosed. The only time you could leave was if you had staff with you and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And all the staff, they're all doctorates. Like they all have the doctorates in psychology and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
10 years of
So did it have
experience.
like nice pools and shit like that?
Yeah, there's
like,
a mad
so
pool
nice.
right in the middle. So like it's pretty hot over there, like humid.
Yeah.
So like in our downtime, we're all kicking back by the pool and that sort of thing. I'm in the pool with one arm. And,
Were you surprised at the people that you met there?
Yeah.
Like that you wouldn't expect they had these issues?
Yeah.
Because it's a silent killer, bro.
Yeah, so
Prescription
there was a pretty famous actor in there when I was there. And like just seeing that, like top of the world, like sort of thing.
Still has issues.
Yeah, still has issues and all that, and trying to get the help they need, and hats off to them.
And so I'm assuming when you like going in there would have been really uncomfortableness in a sense of like not only mentally but physically weaning off. You're going to have those nights where you can't sleep, or you're a bit anxious, all kind of stuff. But leaving, did you feel really refreshed?
Yeah,
Right.
I felt like a new person.
Yeah.
The first sort of week I was in there, I was pretty quiet. Like I probably kept to myself. I was like, is this really for me? Like, do I really want to be here? And then once I sort of got over that and said, you know what, fuck it, I'm here now, I might as well buy into it. Once I really bought into it and, started sort of expressing how I was feeling and all that sort of thing, that's when I got a weight off my shoulders, so to say. And the doctor I had over there, he was unreal. He kept in touch with me for probably the first 3-4 months after I left too, through WhatsApp and sort of stuff. So
they actually give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And, it was good because... he suffered from anxiety too as a kid, and like he reckons his is gone now. Like he studied it his whole life and everything.
Fucking hell. How good's that?
Got a doctorate in it and all that sort of stuff, and sleep. And I think the biggest thing for me was like the lack of sleep. Like I was running on 3-4 hours sleep because of my insomnia and anxiety and all that, and then just like finding ways to get around that with him because he's a sleep specialist and all that sort of stuff as well. So that helped heaps, and just getting back and being able to have a full night's sleep and not waking up in the middle of the night and staying awake for 2 hours midnight, and
head noise,
exactly,
thinking about everything bad,
just overthinking everything, and it's just like a snowball. It roll into the next day. You run on 4 hours already, and then
you know what I've done,
all.
And I've just worked this out myself. When I'm like over think, because my brain's just all the time, I literally just repeat the word positive in my head. Just keep repeating it so my head doesn't keep thinking the bad shit. And it usually works. Yeah. After like literally 2 minutes.
See, when I first got back from Thailand, I started a journal, that sort of thing. That helped a bit. And then I was seeing my doctor, like my psychiatrist here. I was seeing him like every month, every 6 weeks.
Yep.
So.
And it's crazy how how many kids need access to this stuff, just like they need access to a physiotherapy. They need access to this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to get their heads around it.
I think it's slowly starting to get to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
All the sort of highlights on it and that sort of thing. And we're learning a lot more about it, and, it's going in the right direction.
Fucking oath. Okay, so if the next 12 months happen perfectly for you, what are you doing in 12 months' time? Like everything happens exactly the way you want it.
Yeah, look, body's feeling pretty good after all the talk from the start of the year. I want to be. I'm trying to extend at the moment. I've got a year left, but I feel like I've still got a little bit to give, even if that's just helping the young guys come through and that sort of thing. I'm pretty keen on that. But yeah, I think probably just the next 12 months, I just want to play good footy and be consistent, and hopefully we can make a run deeper into the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess just enjoy it.
Exactly.
You're coming to the end now.
Yeah,
like just enjoy what you've earned, bro.
Yeah,
you fucking earned that. Like, that's what frustrates me. A lot of people, like, especially when players get to the end of their career, they're like, you know, like, oh, this, they have all these opinions.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, he didn't give the contract to himself.
Yeah.
He didn't just wake
That's
up one day.
another thing that I don't get to. Like, I don't know how, you know, certain media outlets can allow someone to talk about someone's wage.
Yeah.
You know, it's a confidential contract in the end. It's between the club, the NRL, and you, and that sort of thing. And it's always spoken about. But, you know, at the end of the day, where players, you know, I think the average games for a player is like 50, 55 or something like that.
Less,
so,
it's
like,
honestly less.
exactly,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So, as a player, you know, we can't do this our whole life. We need to look after ourselves the best we can while we can. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's getting better with the CBA, the bargaining agreement, and, you know, obviously the broadcast deal and that sort of thing where players can get what they deserve and what they've earned, you know.
Yeah.
And you look at the American sports, like all the basketballers, like rookies, like 22, 23-year-olds just coming off their rookie deals, signing $45 million a year.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
And then, like, you know, we're getting blown up about $500,000.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's,
yeah.
yeah, I just
You know,
think it's
like-
education on both sides, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think, like, you know, what we do is hard, but it's obviously not going to be as hard as some jobs or whatever, and they're not going to get the money they do that they deserve. But, you know, for us as players, we got to look after ourselves and get what we can.
Well, I try to explain it like this to people. It's like doctors, like my brother's a doctor.
Yeah.
And like he'll earn like, you know, I'm not saying what he's on now, but he'll probably earn $300,000 to $500,000 for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And even he didn't start studying to be a doctor until he was like 20 years old. We've been studying to be athletes since we were 5.
Yeah.
Our whole life is
based
like,
around it,
based
yeah.
around it. Yes, there are some kids that didn't play till they were 10 or whatever,
Yeah.
but a lot of the best, since they were 5 years old, they'd train minimum 2 times a week,
Yeah.
usually 3. Their weekend would always be footy. And so, like, to sit there and say a professional athlete doesn't deserve it, it's like, well, hang on a sec, he's been studying.
Yeah.
Not only has he been studying, he's
And,
been
like,
damaging his body.
Yeah, exactly. So for the rest of our lives, like, I've got arthritis in my knee from continually
Yeah.
playing footy. Like, that's not going to go away. It's only going to
Yeah.
get worse. And I'm 30 now. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I feel like I've got a few more years left, like, professionally.
Mm.
But then, yeah, like, you know, I'm going to get to 50 and need a knee replacement.
fucking
So,
oath.
like,
And also,
it's
like-
the long-term effect too. Like, yeah, the money's good while we're here, but also it's got to be good for after we finish.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And also, like, in nearly any field, if you put in the same amount of time that we have put into becoming athletes, you would be on big money.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're a carpenter, if you do that, you would have your own business.
Own company. Yeah.
If you're working in a bar, you'd probably have your own bar. So, like, again, this is not us saying like we're so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Like, we're
blessed with what we've got,
Absolutely
but we've only
blessed.
got it for a certain amount of time. So,
Yeah.
like, it's not like if you study to become a lawyer, you could be a lawyer for your whole life. Whereas, you know, we've only got this little window to be a pro athlete and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. You know, time catches up, your body catches up, everything. And then
Yeah.
it's just like, well, it's gone.
It's gone skis, 100%, or injury or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, it's not about like us saying like, oh, woe is
Yeah.
me. Not at all. Just like putting in perspective that you
Yeah,
know, we're
exactly.
equal to other people.
Yeah.
Favorite rapper of all time?
That's a hard one. Tupac and Meek Mill.
Meek Mill.
Yeah, I love Meek. And Nipsey Hussle.
Meek Mill.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. I'm not a fan, eh? I don't rate him, eh? But I don't think he raps like my style.
Yeah.
He's a very specific, in my
Yeah.
opinion, he's a specific style.
Yeah.
I think it seems to be a lot of people that like NFL and that like him.
Yeah.
So it might be that high energy,
Yeah.
aggressive rap or
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
But then, yeah, Nipsey, like,
he
he's
was
up
good.
there. Yeah.
What he did for his
Oh,
culture,
yeah,
and that,
exactly. The
massive.
community and that.
Favorite movie of all time?
Blade.
Blade. Fucking oath.
Big
Fuck-
Wesley Snipes.
Big Wesley
That's throwing
fucking
it back
Snipes.
too.
Fucking oath, bro. Bro, thank you so much for coming on,
Nah,
bro.
no dramas.
Always appreciate it. Absolute legend. Can't wait to see you play this year. And yeah, I fucking hope you get the extension.
Thanks, fella.
Boom.